happens when the fourth turning meets fifth generation warfare.
A commentator, international social media sensation, and former Navy intelligence veteran.
This is Human Events with your host, Jack Posobiec.
Christ is king.
DHS says Mexican drug cartels are now offering cash to target ICE officers and other federal agents. $5,000 to $10,000 for kidnapping or assaults on officers, and up to $50,000 for the assassination of high-ranking officials.
President Trump considering U.S. strikes on Venezuelan soil to combat drug cartels.
Well, I don't want to tell you exactly, but we are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control.
The president also escalating U.S. operations against Venezuela's authoritarian leader, Nicolas Maduro. Trump confirming he's authorized covert CIA action in the country. But when asked if the agency has the authority to take out Maduro, Trump non-committal.
But I think Venezuela's feeling heat.
In a statement overnight, Venezuela accusing Trump of trying to legitimize a regime change operation to access the country's oil resources, saying they would bring up the matter at the UN Security Council today.
I'm going to be strongly recommending, at the request of government officials, which is always nice, that you start looking at San Francisco. I think we can make San Francisco. There's one of our great cities 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and now it's a mess.
Mark Bray was denounced by the president of Dartmouth University because of his embrace of violence all the way back in 2017. He said if you label someone a white supremacist, if you label someone a fascist, then he endorses violence against them. The same way that our leader, Charlie Kirk, was branded a fascist and included the casing of one of the bullets that said, "Hey, fascist, catch." So, Mark Bray, have you disavowed the violence against Charlie Kirk, our former CEO, or late CEO? Have you disavowed the violence that you have endorsed against our own students, like these two incredible female students there at Rutgers, who, by the way, they're being harassed. They're now being doxxed. And I would just say this to Rutgers. I spoke with Turning Point headquarters earlier tonight. We stand by our chapter. We will defend our chapter. And if the university wants to make an issue of it, they can find out how good our lawyers are.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard today's edition of Human Events Daily. We're here live in Washington, D.C. Real America's Voice. Today is October 16th, 2025, Anno Domini. Well, folks, you just saw the news there. Dr. Antifa has fled the country for Spain, claiming that TPUSA is harassing him, attacking him, doxing him. No, that's not what's going on at all. Up at Rutgers University in New Jersey, where 19 days from now, there's going to be a major election, as well as elections in New York. Mondami's got the debate tonight. And then, of course, 19 days, the election in New Jersey, where Jay Jones has called for Republican children to be murdered, and nobody seems to be able to disavow him on the Democrat side. Well, what do we see up in Rutgers? They're now investigating the Turning Point USA chapter. They've put our students under investigation, claiming that they are the ones who have caused all these problems, and suddenly there's issues with the paperwork. Well, Rutgers, Turning Point USA will defend the chapters, will defend the students, and will defend the right for freedom of speech against people like Dr. Antifa, who support violence, against people like Dr. Antifa, who say that violence against quote-unquote fascists and white supremacists that he gets to identify is justified. We also saw the breaking news just moments ago, President Trump ending this call with Vladimir Putin of Russia, stating unequivocally that they will now be able to be working towards an end to the Ukraine war. There's going to be a series of meetings tomorrow. It all begins here in Washington, D.C. President Trump will meet with Zelensky at the White House. And then at a point still yet to be determined, President Trump will fly to Budapest to meet with Vladimir Putin directly. This is very significant because Vladimir Putin has not traveled to the EU since the beginning of the Ukraine war. This is a situation that obviously is ongoing. President Trump, of course, has been working towards peace deals around the entire world. And he's going for the trifecta, folks. He's absolutely going for the trifecta because he already had the peace deal in the Middle East, the peace deal between Hamas, Israel. Now he's going for the peace deal in Ukraine. This is an incredible situation. Of course, it's fluid. We will do, as you know, everything possible to be able to cover that story, to be able to cover it, hopefully live from Budapest, one way or another, the same way that we went up to Anchorage for the historic meeting. First time we human events researchers dug in as far back as we could in the archives. We don't believe a Russian leader had ever traveled to Alaska before, even back when it was Russian territory. We went back that far. This was historic. President Trump's work is to put his money where his mouth is. World history is on the table. All history is on the table. And world peace is the prize. And so, no, to the folks over in Nobel, the psychologists out there, no, they're not going to be giving President Trump the Nobel Peace Prize this time because they never could. They never could admit that it wasn't one of their profound neoliberal globalist Marxists who brought the world peace. No. In fact, it was a billionaire from New York City, from Fifth Avenue. And yeah, he's a little crass sometimes. And yeah, he's a little politically incorrect sometimes. But you know something? He gets the job done. You had the art of the deal. Now you're going to see the art of the peace deal. And so, folks, we are going to face all of that. This is what we're fighting for, by the way. In the midst of political violence, in the midst of an ecosystem where to be a conservative is now to have a target on your back 1 month after the murder of our friend, Charlie Kirk. Right back, Jack Posobiec, Human Events Daily.